Welcome back everyone to our studies in business law and practice for the SQE. What we're going to do over the next few videos is essentially tackle this part of the specification. And this part of the specification is a very basic, very easy to understand aspect. And essentially what it involves we do is spend some time talking about all the different types of businesses that might exist in English law. So what the difference between a sole trader, a partnership, an LLP, private unlisted companies, all those different kinds of things. That's what we're going to spend the next few lessons examining and exploring. Fundamentally, what we'll do in this video is spend some time talking about the sole trader, the first of these different aspects. And I just want to give you a very quick recap from the previous video where we spent some time talking about the nature of business and the nature of business structures. Essentially, we delineated between two different types of business structure. The first is this idea of the incorporated business. The second is the idea of the unincorporated business. This is how we delineate, firstly, the groupings of two different types of business structure. Now, we note that the difference between these two different kinds of things is that one involves the process of incorporation. Take a guess which one that involves, which one that is. The other one involves no such process of incorporation. One is unincorporated. And incorporation essentially involves the establishment of an entity in law that has separate legal personality, that has separate legal personhood to the people who are running and operating and who are creating the business. And this is obviously most commonly exemplified and most commonly explained through the establishment of a company. A company involves the creation of something that has separate legal personality, the company itself. Sole traders are formally, strictly falling into the latter of these two categories. They are unincorporated businesses. And so this begs the question then, what in fact is a sole trader? Well, a sole trader, sometimes known as a sole proprietor or sole proprietorship, is a business structure in which the owner of the business is in fact the business. Okay, there is no delineation, unlike in an incorporated business like a company. There is no legal separation between the business and the person who is running the business and the person who has ownership of the business. They are just the business themselves. This has with it a number of implications then. What are the implications then of having a business structure in which you are in fact just the business? Well, the implications for a sole trader are quite numerous. Unlike with a company, if a sole trader were to go into debt, let's say they have a lot of overheads for payment, maybe they have apprentices or maybe they have employees, or they have equipment that they need to uphold, or they have rented property, for example, like an office, and they don't have enough money coming in, they can go into debt. And these debts, unlike with a company, will be tied directly to the person who is running the business. They are their debts, okay? Since there is no legal separation between the business itself and the person who is running the business, then it means that the person who is running and operating the business has what we call unlimited liability when it comes to debts which are incurred onto the business. It is a fact of life that debts are accrued, should I say, when a person or a big company goes about operating and running a business. There are very few businesses that have very few overheads. Often, if you want to sell something, you need to, of course, make the thing that you're going to sell. There has to be overheads for employees, all of these different kinds of things. So naturally, there will always be the opportunity for people or for companies to go into debt if they don't bring enough money in the process. Because a sole trader, like I said, has no legal separation, the debts that are associated with that business are just debts that are associated with the person. They are just their debts at the same time. Unlike with a company in which you can have the company's debts that aren't necessarily going to incur liability onto you, a sole trader has no limitation of liability. They have unlimited liability. This does not, however, mean that an employer who is a sole trader, is unable to make take on employees or even to have a business that has growth potential. Theoretically, any business structure could be a sole trader. A small business could be a sole trader, and this is usually the case, that a small business will operate as a sole trader. So often with one person who is operating as a self-employed individual will often operate as a small trader, and they are the people who will be the people who will choose to operate a sole trader. It might be pertinent for people who are looking to be solicitors, who are looking to advise clients on starting businesses, to essentially explore the potential options that they may have for operating and for starting and for building a business, and thinking about what the size of that business may potentially be and what the best option for them is. So for some people it might not be a very applicable option to go for a sole trader as a business structure. For some people they might choose a company, and vice versa. So that's obviously something that needs to be explored. The next video is going to spend some time talking about partnerships, the next type of business structure.